Hey friends, it's Mrs. Walker. For our lesson today, we're going to continue working with addition and subtraction. So our learning goal for today says, I can add and subtract multiples of 100, including counting on to subtract. So friends, that just means we're going to be adding and subtracting like 100, 200, 300. Those are multiples of 100. And then we're also going to talk about how we can use the arrow way to help us subtract. So the materials that you'll need for this lesson are your dry erase board, your place value chart, and your place value discs. If you don't have all of those materials, just make sure you have paper and something you can write with where you can draw a place value chart and draw your place value discs. All right, so let's get started. So use the place value discs to show 125 on your place value chart. So here we have hundreds, tens, and ones. So use your place value disc to show 125. So pause the video and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, here's how I did that. 100, 2 tens, and 5 ones. How can we change this to 325? So here I have modeled 125. How can we change this to 325? Yeah, we can add 2 hundreds, right? So pause the video and add 2 hundreds to your place value chart, and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, so here's my extra 100, 100, 200. So how many hundreds, tens, and ones do we have now? Yeah, we have 3 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. Let's add 2 more hundreds. Okay, so pause the video, add 2 more hundreds to your place value chart, and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, here's 2 more hundreds. 1, 2. So how many hundreds, tens, and ones do we have now? Yeah, we have 5 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. So what is 325 plus 200? Yeah, it's 525, right? Because that's just what we modeled. So say 525 in unit form. So, right, remember unit form, hundreds, tens, and ones. Yeah, so we would say 5 hundreds, 2 tens, 5 ones. All right, so friends, if I asked you to add 3 hundreds to 450, how could you solve that? Wait, I have an idea, right? Well, when we did the last problems before, our tens and ones place stayed the same. So only my hundreds place changed because I was only adding hundreds. So I could think to myself, wow, I have 300, 450, and I could add 300s to that. So only my hundreds is going to change. So it would be like adding 300 plus 400. That's pretty cool, right? So when we're just adding hundreds, only the hundreds place will change. Let's show that using the arrow way and number bonds. So here we're going to start with the number bond first. So we have 450 plus 300. So I want to break apart this 450 into just my hundreds. So then I'll have 450. Then I can easily add my hundreds. So 400 plus 300 equals 700. And then I have to add back my 50 from before. So 700 plus 50 equals 750. So using the number bond strategy, 450 plus 300 equals 750. Now let's see the arrow way. So the arrow way, we would start with 450, and we could add on that 300, right? Now, if adding that 300 was too much for you to do, you could add on 100 each time. You would just have to add 100 3 times to get to 300. But if not, if you can just see that 450 plus 300 is 750. You could kind of count on as you're doing that. So you could do 450 plus 100 is 550, plus another 100 is 650, plus another 100 is 750. So no matter which way I write it, the number bond or the arrow way, when I add hundreds to a number, the tens and ones place stays the same. That's pretty cool, right? All right, so now I want you guys to solve 147 plus 200. So you can use the number bond way, you can use the arrow way, you can use mental math. I would just like for you to pause the video, solve that problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, so I'm going to show you the number bond way. So again, there's my problem. I'm going to break out this 147 or break apart into the hundreds all by themselves. So 100 and then 47. So now I can easily add 100 plus 200 to get 300. And now I have to combine what's left, which is 300 plus 47. And that's pretty easy to do in our head too, right? 347. And then the arrow way would be 147 plus 200 is 347. Okay, we can do that a little bit easier in our head because those two zeros in the hundred, in the ones and tens place in 200, make it very easy for me to add that because I'm only changing the hundreds place. So really, it's like 1 plus 2 to get to that 3 in 347. All right, so friends, now we need to use our place value chart again. So use place value disc to show 725 on your place value chart. So pause the video, model that, and then click play when you're ready for the next step. All right, friends, pause if you need more time. Otherwise, here we go. So here we have 7 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. So how many do you see? What number is this, friends? Yeah, it's 725. So say 725 in unit form. 7 hundreds, 2 tens, 5 ones. Let's subtract 2 hundreds, okay? So 1, 2. How many do you see now? Yeah, now we have 5 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. So what will happen when I subtract 2 more hundreds? Yeah, we'll have 200 less, right? We can be thinking there's going to be 200 less. We know that the hundreds place is going to change, but the tens and ones will stay the same. So friends, on your board, remember, I want you guys you're going to pause the video. Make sure that you take away 2 of those hundreds already, so you're only modeling 525, okay? I didn't have you pause and do that before. So make sure your board shows 525, and then subtract 2 more 100. Okay, so do that, and then pause, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. Spoiler alert, 325. Okay, so 525 minus 200 equals 325. You're like, mic drop, I'm out. Mrs. Walker, that was an easy one. So you guys did good with that. All right, friends, so now you're going to solve 582 minus 300. Okay, so do that on, you can use the arrow way, you can use the number bond, you can use mental math, but I prefer for you to use one of those strategies. So pause the video, solve this problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends, let's look at the number bond. So we have 582 minus 300. Now remember, you're going to break out that hundreds out of 582. So you have 582. And then we're going to subtract our hundreds. So 500 minus 300 equals 200. And then we need to combine what's left from our 582. So we have 200 plus 82 equals 282. So being able to break apart these numbers this way, you might be doing this in your head. Some of you might not need to write down these steps with the number bond and the arrow way, and that's okay. So if these are things that you can use mental math for, that's absolutely fine. You're able to see those connections. All right, so let's look at the arrow way. So we have 582. If you can subtract this in your head to subtract 300, you can absolutely do that jump. So then you would be at 282. Now, another way, remember we talked about with our learning goal, was counting on. So we could start with 300. Remember, when you're using subtraction, you could start with a smaller number and count to the bigger number to subtract. So we would start with 300. We would add 100. That gets us to 400. But we're not quite at 582, so we have to keep going. So if I add another 100, I would be at 500. Oh, well, I'm at 500 and I need to get to 582. So my hundreds are right. So now I just have to change the tens and ones. Well, I can make one jump of 82 to do that. So 500 plus 82 is 582. Now, I made it to my largest number, but I haven't found my answer yet for subtraction. I need to be able to count what's in red right there to find out how many we actually are subtracting in this problem. So I have 100, 200, and then 82. So look, that's 282. So that's the same way we used when we subtracted with the arrow away and when we used our number bond. All right, good job with that one, friends. Whew. So the goal with this is to choose your best strategy. Some of you may love the number bond. Some of you may love the arrow away. And some of you may love just doing mental math. That's the cool thing about math, is learning all these strategies. Then you pick your best strategy, the one that you're the best at. All right, let's do another one. So solve 541 minus 200. So pause the video, use any strategy you'd like to solve this problem, and then click play when you're ready to go over it together. All right, friends. Here we go. Here's the number bond. So 541 minus 200. I'm going to break apart this 541, break out that 100, right? So then I have 500s, or 500, and then I have 41. Now I subtract my hundreds. 500 minus 200 equals 300. Then I just have to combine what I have left over, which is 300 plus 41. That's pretty easy to do, right? Which is 341. So 541 minus 200 equals 341. Now if you use the arrow way, maybe you did it this way. You did 541 minus 200 equals 341. Or maybe you use the count on strategy with the arrow way. So that means we start with a smaller number of 200 and we count on until we get to 541. So for this one, you might see 200 and be like, oh, you know what? Let's add another 200. And that only gets us to 400, right? Because we know that 2 plus 2 is 4. So now I need another 100. So 400 plus 100 equals 500. Oh, I'm at 500. I only have to go to 541. So I'm going to make one last jump in my arrow way of 41. So 500 plus 41 equals 541. Now, remember, that's not our final answer because 541 minus 200 does not equal 541. So when you're using the counting on strategy, these numbers that you're adding on top are what you want to be counting to find your difference for our subtraction problem. So 200 plus 100 is 300, plus 41 is 341. So look, friends, again, no matter what strategy we used, we came up with the same answer. So that's using your best strategy. All right, friends, high five to you guys for doing an awesome job adding and subtracting multiples of 100. And if you use the counting on strategy, that's awesome too. Okay, so friends, please head back on over to the module to see what you need to complete for your independent practice. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends!